Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. I'm going to do part 2 of the video on taking fractions and making them decimals and percents, reviewing the notes and examples we did this week. So the next thing I want to look at are repeating decimals. Now, this is something you would have done in grade 7. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Y's in grade 8. In grade 7, you would have studied some patterns, specifically the pattern of 9 and the pattern of 11. To determine why certain fractions are repeating decimals. There's a couple in grade 8 I want you to remember, and they are 1/3 and 2/3. Okay, so if we just look at 1/3, there's no way to change that into a fraction out of 10, 100, or 1,000. The only thing we can do is divide the numerator by the denominator. And when we do that, we get 0 and 3/10 repeating, which you typically write like that, or you can write in bar notation where you take the repeating digit and you put a bar on top of it indicating that that digit is repeating, and we would say that is 3/10 repeating. To get the percentage, you take that repeating decimal and you do the same thing we did before. You times by 100, which shifts the decimal 2 spots to the right, and you get 33 and 3/10 repeating percent. That's one I really want you to memorize. So I flipped to the wrong slide there, kids, sorry about that. So that's one I want you to memorize. Just remember. And same thing, I want you to remember 2/3. 2/3, think of that as 2 divided by 3. And that works out to 0 and 6/10 repeating. Or with bar notation, 0 and 6/10 with a bar on top. And same thing with the percentage. If you had 0 and 6/10 repeating, you would multiply that by 100. The decimal would shift 2 spots to the right, and you have 66 and 6/10 repeating percent. Those two, 1/3 and 2/3, I want you to remember and memorize those ones. Okay? Let's do a couple more. So we also have to worry about improper fractions and mixed numbers. Now, an improper fraction is when you have the numerator greater than the denominator. Now, I prefer to think of these as mixed numbers. They're easier to picture that way. 9/8, I would ask myself, if I think division, 9 divided by 8, how many groups of 8 will fit inside 9? Will one whole group of 8 with 1 left over out of what should have been 8 parts? So I like to think of this as 1 and 1/8, and that's the easiest way to convert these ones. Now, to make that into a decimal, I'm going to do the same thing that we've done before. One fact I've been working with the kids with is that you can't make 1/8 into a fraction out of 10. You can't make it out of 100, but you can make it out of 1,000. And you can do that by multiplying by 125. We've practiced that one in class. And then you would do the same thing to the top, and you would get 125 over 1,000. Now use your zeros to help you. 3 zeros means 3 decimal spots. And in those decimal spots goes 1, 2, 5. This time, there's no 0 placeholder in the 1 spot. We have 1 whole, so that 1 whole appears in front of the decimal, and it's 1 and 125 thousandths. Now, same thing with the percent. No matter what the decimal is, we always take the decimal. Oops, that's a little error. Erase that. We always take the decimal, 1 and 125 thousandths, and we mentally multiply that by 100. 2 zeros on 100 means shift the decimals 1, 2. the decimal ends up between the 2 and the 5, and we have 112 and 5/10%, or 112.5%. It's the same pattern every time, right? And really the key thing is learning our facts. Really got to practice our multiplication and division facts, because if we're skilled with those, all this stuff we can really, if we pick up on those patterns, we can do a lot with this. Let's do one more question, and then I think that'll wrap up what we did this week. So last thing I have here is a picture. Always want to remember that math needs to be represented pictorially as well. So I want to represent this as a fraction, decimal, and a percent. And I guess maybe we should specify that I want to represent the fraction that's shaded green. Or at least that looks green to me. I'm a little bit colorblind. So the fraction that's darker. So you can count here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. And 3 of them are shaded. So the fraction is 3/8. Now for the decimal, from the previous question, we learned that you can make that out of 1,000 by timesing by 125 and do the same thing to the top. 3 times 100 is 300. 3 times 25 is 75. So that's 375. Now we can get to the decimal. 3 zeros on 1,000 means 3 decimal spots. And in those spots goes 375 and a 0 in front. To get the percent, mentally multiply by 100. 2 zeros on 100 means shift the decimal 1, 2. And you're going to get 37 and 5/10%, or 37.5%. So that's been our focus in grade 8 math this week. Hopefully that helped you if you're struggling a bit. And we'll just keep practicing. I always like to take things really slowly, and we'll keep plugging away. Mistakes are going to happen. I never do any tests until we've had a lot of time to practice. So I think that's good for today. Flexing Teacher Weber out.